Land, interwebs,
Here we go.
YouTube's Book of Suck. It's the Prep Pastors Podcast. How you doing tonight, Phil?
It is. I'm heading on over to the YouTubes. Gonna look and see that we're live and
Awesome.
watch out for them communists like to get in there.
Heck yeah.
See just how
The
bad
Pinko.
my bit rate does look.
Oh, your bit rate looks terrible.
The live chat. Yeah, I see
I
that.
am
Well,
sharing. I am
what am I gonna
working on
do?
getting the link. Nothing. Hold on. Let me get our link here so I can send it out. Quality.
I'm
Oh,
getting
we're
some
we're.
bad
Ugh.
internet back from you too.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
This
but you
may
look
be
good on
the.
YouTube.
Oh well, thank you.
Half of you.
Half of me. Half of the man I used to be.
Yeah,
Not
you're
quite.
only half your face is on the only half your face.
What? Oh, because you have the chat box open.
No,
That's
there
that's
you go.
weird.
That's center.
Okay.
I
All
know.
right. Well, that sounds good. All right, man. Well, we
Whatever.
got stuff. We got stuff to
Hey,
talk about. We got things to talk about. We got stuff, man. I'm trying to share us, but for some reason, I'm not getting a. Oh, there it is. I
there's
see it.
two people watching on YouTube, so we're in
What
there.
up?
It's like
What up, YouTube?
half
We're
our
rolling. We're
audience.
going. It's time. It's time.
Yeah, let's just do
Okay,
it.
I gotta kill the YouTube app,
Here, I'll get
or
rid of the
we'll.
posers real quick. I'll throw some scary things out there. Here we go. It's really
Oh,
scary.
well,
Pulled it out of my pocket.
it would be a lot more. It would be a
You're
lot more
welcome.
scary if people could actually see what it is.
Oh, that's fair. Well, I'm not going to tell them.
So we are. Let me. I'm just.
It's my
I'm just
secret.
throwing this out. Throwing this out on the tube of on the. There we go. There we go. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Okay. So how you been, man? How was the week?
Hey, I live in the world where 3/4 of the world comes to camp and poop right on my front door for about 2 weeks out of the year. And they are all here right now.
And it is the 2 weeks.
Right now.
It is dip netting season in the
It's
Great Land.
crazy. Yeah. Come stick your dips in the water, whether you're legal to or not. The way enforcement works around here is if it looks like you're an Alaska resident, they'll write you tickets for getting to cut fins and whatnot. But if you don't speak English and don't look like you're from here and have something like 100 fish up on the bank and you're just dipping and having a good old time, they'll leave you alone.
I love it.
Because
I
people from
love
out
it.
of state don't pay fines.
No, man, they want them tourist dollars.
And we don't charge them on the street. And we want them to come back and have a good time. So I guess we just give them all our fish, which is also why the locals cannot catch and keep fish. We will continue to allow tourists to come here and catch king salmon until we put them right into extinctual oblivion.
Man, it's
Because we
ridiculous.
believe in catch and kill here. Catch
You
them,
know,
wear them out, throw them back in the water. Take your picture, throw them back in the water. That way they die. But you didn't see it, so it didn't happen.
it's true, man. It's true.
But believe me, bears do shit in the woods. And
They do.
salmon do
They
die
do.
after you let them go.
I've seen it. Steelhead are even worse. Steelhead are born
Yeah,
on
they're
the
kind of a
place to
finicky
die.
fish.
They are, man.
Yeah.
They are, and especially in that warm water, when the Columbia, right about now, when the Columbia River gets warm, and you catch a steelhead, and it fights like just an absolute toad, especially a wild one, because wild ones always fight
Yeah.
more than hatchery ones. And then you just put it back in the water, and they'll just be this monster trophy fish that you're just holding up. Like that's why they really frown upon you even taking it out and doing the fish pick, of the water. But by the time
Yeah,
you've
that's
brought it
not
to the
legal.
boat, no. By the time you brought it to the boat, that fish is smoked.
Yep.
So
Well, I'm a
I
little
tried
bummed
really
that
hard.
people can't see a nice quality, clean picture of my beauteous face because I wore a special hat today.
You did what? What is your special hat?
This is a special hat from a new buddy of mine who's opened an ammunition manufacturing company here in Soldotna. And while
Oh,
the
that's
entire world
awesome.
is here stealing my fish, you may as well come buy some firearms and buy some ammunition. I bought a new shotgun today. I got me a Benelli.
You got a Benelli? Did you get the M2?
No,
What's a Nova?
but it's you picked that
Super.
out quickly. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Supernova.
Supernova.
Nova in Spanish means no go.
No, go my by my front door.
I don't know. I don't know what it means in Italy where this thing came from. And then somebody like went way overboard in some hydro dip.
Yeah, dude,
Uh,
I've got one. I've got one just like that, and I love it. That black
do you?
button on the bottom, that black button on the bottom of the pump.
Yeah. What does that do?
What it does is, so if you want to unload the chamber but not have to cycle through all of the magazine tube, you just
Okay.
crack the chamber, push the
Okay.
black button on the bottom of the slide. You can crack out the one that's in the chamber, and it will not cycle the ones in the magazine up into the chamber, up in the chamber.
Oh, that's slick.
Oh, it's great. It's great,
Cool. I'm not
especially when
much
you're
on
hunting with
pump
kids.
guns. But this was a smoking deal. This was one of those NRA raffle deals.
Oh yeah,
Um, and then it went instantly to the gun store, and this has never been fired. And so it's good to have a buddy with a gun store because when you get stuff in that's like brand new like that for a good deal, he'll give you a call.
yeah.
So shout out to Bullet Farm in the Blazy Mall. So, not in the Blazy Mall. Come on down and buy some guns. He's got a bunch of
That's awesome.
good, cool stuff. He's got some Centennial rifles. Some. Let's see. He's an Arrow Precision dealer. He gets a better deal than I do with military discount.
Ooh, I
And he's
like
got
it.
some Arrow Precision. I think he's got an AR-10, one of those M5s from Arrow Precision. Just got it in. I saw it earlier this week. I think it's ready to go out. It's looking for a new home.
Man, I'd
It's
love to
got
have
all
an
the right
M5.
options.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised you didn't buy the M5.
Well, mine's a lot better.
I like that Nova. That
And I'm
Nova's a great.
thinking, yeah, good gun. You like it? I'm pretty happy with
I
it. I
have
mean, I didn't need
I
it, but
have
I'll take an
killed
extra shotgun.
I have killed copious amounts of geese and ducks with that shotgun. And it was really funny. I was upgrading to a semi-automatic a couple of years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I was about to sell the Nova,
Mm-hmm.
um, and Trip, before he could even hold that gun up, goes, "But Dad, I was kind of hoping maybe I could have that shotgun, and I'd be able to go like goose and turkey hunting with it." And I'm like, "It is,
Yeah, this is why
it,
my son can't watch the show because then he'll pull something like that, and I'll never be
it
able
is
to.
yours. It now belongs to you, youngling. You have blessed my heart."
Oh, well, it's okay. Actually, I was my brother doesn't watch the show. I don't think he's pretty busy because he works at this time. So I was kind of half thinking about making that a wedding present, but um,
Well, you are be a generous brother to give out a Benelli as a wedding gift.
well, when he turned 21, I bought him matching set of 1911s with sequential serial numbers, and he got one, the second one, and I got the first one, and we still have those. And then a couple years ago, when we moved back up here to Alaska, um, I built him his first ARs, built his first 5.56 AR-15 and 7.62 AR-10, and so
Nice.
uh, we don't have matching sets of those, but I put them together and built them for him and did a nice custom paint job on them. So, I
I
like
remember those are really nice.
my
You did a good job.
Crayola cans. So, yeah, I probably got, but he's bought a few things. So he's got some nice taste. He's got M1 Garands, in
Mm.
pretty nice shape. He's got actual Colt 1911s, um,
You
some
know the
real
nice
deal
thing about
stuff,
you know
nice stuff.
the nice thing about the M1 Grand is it's not an assault rifle because it's made out of wood and it's not black.
Not as scary.
Yeah, I mean
Hmm.
it's probably killed way more people in the history of the world than than the AR-15, but at least it's not an assault rifle.
Oh, by far, especially all the ones that have come back through CMP programs. So we send them to other countries on a lease program. They kill people with them, usually their own people, and
Yeah.
then they send them back when the lease is over, and we put a new barrel on them and then sell them to people for 5 times what they're worth, which is about $1,200 to $2,000 through the CMP program.
Yep. That's
And they
exactly
do
right.
have a set. You can buy some match grade CMP 30-06 Garands right now. They have a stock of them. I almost pulled the trigger and changed my mind. I really am just not going to add a caliber, and I don't have 30-06 anymore. I had a family heirloom Springfield that had been sporterized and completely destroyed, but my great grandfather had it. It's been pretty destroyed, and I think I've been told it's not coming to me. There's a lot of grandchildren at this point, and that was in 30-06.
Got it.
And so then I might have picked up a Garand because you'd want to shoot the same rounds through it. It's not full power modern 30-06. You'll blow up a
Right.
Garand if you're shooting that.
Yeah, you don't
But
want to
the
go
other,
get
the other,
Hornady hunting
no,
rounds off the shelf would be really bad.
no. But if you put a 308 barrel on a Garand, you can
Sure.
shoot factory 308 stuff.
Sure.
And I think you could even shoot AR-10 7.62 stuff, 7.62 by 5.1.
Correct.
So, and I do have a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the
Because
world of preps this week, you
the world
have
preps this week. What'd you do?
you solidified a friendship that, with an ammunition manufacturer and FFL. That is a prep. You picked up a new shotgun. Did you squirrel away any more food?
Maybe. I'll never tell. Because I'm telling you guys, if you have not done it by now, man, there's some empty shelves right now. You know that I sit there every night in my evening chair before I go to bed, and I scroll through the Walmart rollbacks on the app, and I'm getting more and more out of stock notices. Can't get that notices,
Mhm.
and I keep
Walmart.
track from purchase to purchase in the pricing, and it's a solid 20 to 30% higher on a lot of things. So
So I had a pretty awesome experience this week. I don't know if you saw on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram at Pastor Kirk Q2. I posted a picture of a bunch of meat seeds I planted this week. I planted some meat seeds. So I've got 52 chickens in the brooder, baby chicks in the brooder. And when I went to the post office on Tuesday morning, because when
yeah.
you order chicks in the mail, the
Mm-hmm.
post office calls you at like 5 a.m. and they're like, "You need to get these birds out of my office because I don't want to listen to 50 little voices going beep, 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 beep," like that, like, for the
All
next
day.
few hours. Except for I did not know they were coming in on Tuesday. I thought they were coming in on Wednesday. So my do not
Oh.
disturb was still on. So I got the message that they called at 7 a.m. So I dashed down to the post office, picked up my 50 some baby chicks, and I was talking to the postmaster, and she was like, "What kind of birds are these?" I said, "Oh, they're just chickens." And she goes, "How many in here?" I said, "It's about 50, 25 in each box, 2 boxes." And she said, "Well, what kind of chickens are they?" I said, "They're Cornish cross. They're just meat chickens. We'll butcher them in about 8 weeks." And she goes, "Oh, that's a fantastic idea." She goes, "You got the right idea." I said, "Really? Why do you say that?" She goes, "I was at the store last night and there were 6 chicken breasts in the entire grocery store. That is it.
Yeah.
That was the only pieces of chicken that they had. There were no bags of frozen chicken breasts. There were no packages of leg thigh quarters. There were 6 chicken breasts in the whole store." I said, "Well, I hope you bought them." She said, "I did."
Yeah.
So I said, "Yep, I said, "This won't be the last box of chicks you see come through with my name on it." I said, "In 4 weeks, there's 100 more on the way."
Nice. That's what you need to do
Out
right now. Look,
50 more, 50 more.
we've been catching up on sprouting seeds. How are you guys on that? You used to sprout. You did more microgreen than sprout. I mean, it's kind of same thing for those who don't know.
Yeah,
One you
yeah,
kind of do like in a rotating jar, and one you kind of set up in a mat and just leave it, but
yeah.
for a week.
Well, it
Do you
depends on
guys
what
do
you're
any?
doing, right?
Right. Go ahead.
If
You
you're
know a
trying
lot
to
more
feed
about this than I
you,
do.
if you're trying to feed you, you're sprouting microgreens, and there's great super cheap kits on Amazon for sprouting
I just use
microgreens. They're just
jars.
jar lids. Yeah, they'll send you a little pack
Yep.
of jar lids with different texture or size mesh on them. And all you got to do is just soak them once or twice a day, flip them upside down. It drains all the water off of them. And
Yep.
in just a few days, you've got this whole big, gigantic jar full of microgreens that you basically have to cut them out. And I love it. I would rather have sprouts on a sandwich
Yep.
than
Then
lettuce.
lettuce or
And they're so much more nutrient dense.
right.
Um, so
We
much more
started
nutrient
doing
dense.
mung bean sprouts.
Mung beans are one of the best. So mung beans, that's a now sprouting for fodder. There's going to be some videos coming up in the next month about sprouting for
You'll be doing
fodder.
that.
But yes, I am. Which we did that a lot in Lakeview. So when we lived in
Yeah.
Lakeview, I had a 6 rack system. I went to Costco. I got the big heavy duty rack, and we made sterilite trays. Those short but long,
Yeah.
short tall but long wide. I guess I should say very wide lengthwise. We You would put down 7 pounds of barley. We were using barley, uncoated barley seed, and then you soak it every day and let the water drain off. And then we would slope the trays, spray them for about 30 minutes with a mister, and then the water would drain off and go down a drain. And we collected the water in a bucket because it was very nutrient dense water, and then we would give that water to our pigs. So that was really cool. But 7 pounds of barley turned into 11 pounds of feed in 7 days. And then we would feed that sprout mat in to our pigs, our chickens, our sheep, and they loved it. So we are getting ready to build out a new one of those.
Yeah. No, we're just doing sprouts for well, the mung beans. Those are more bean sprouts, like everybody's used to seeing. You can buy them jarred or whatever. You buy them for stupid a lot of money in the store. That's for throwing into stir fries or whatever. It's a pretty neutral
Sure.
flavor, extra protein.
Yeah.
And then we have a mix of broccoli, kale, all the superfoods.
Yeah.
And those I've been setting up. It takes about 7 days for where I'm sprouting for them to get to a decent enough size, and then just stuck them in the window this morning because tomorrow will be day 7. So we'll green them
Oh,
up.
perfect.
And
Green
so
them up.
1 tablespoon in a quart jar, and then they'll come out, but it'll fill the whole quart jar. 1 tablespoon of
Yeah.
seeds. And then if you buy a pound, that's about 1 tablespoon of seeds a week for a year.
Yep.
So I noticed that the price is starting going up. So last night I bought somewhere around 10 pounds of
Nice.
those types of sprouting stuff. So, because
That's
they
a
won't
lot of
last
food.
forever, supposedly, but I was experimenting with some mung beans that I had vacuum sealed and I've had them for a couple of years. And I got at least 80% germination out of them.
There you go.
So, like your red wheat berries, they will last forever
Yep.
if you just don't get them too hot or expose them to UV.
Or moisture.
Well, yeah, moisture is the killer always. So oxygen
Yeah.
absorber, vacuum sealed, dark place, Mylar bags, which leads us into
Oh, yes. Very, very much part of today.
headline
That was in the
today.
title.
I just noticed that. But so you go ahead. I didn't actually click on the story and read it. I saw, and about 2 YouTubers were commenting. I didn't watch either of their videos, so I'm a fresh audience. What idiots trying to outlaw Mylar?
Amazon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
A lot of it comes from China for there.
Amazon has announced that because, okay, listen, backing up.
All right.
The first time I experienced this phenomenon, I lived in Colorado, and I had friends that lived on a camp up around Lake City, Colorado. One of the most beautiful places in the world. Okay, absolutely gorgeous. I don't know why
Yeah.
anyone needs to go to Switzerland. All you have to do is go to Southern Colorado.
Everybody should go to
And
Colorado.
well, yeah, well, yeah, now because they're as leftist gross as Oregon. But as far as beauty goes, it's amazing place. Okay, so and they were like, please go get a bear tag for our unit and come down here and shoot a bear. I've never shot a
Okay.
bear. I've always wanted to shoot a bear, and I was like, this is really exciting. And so I went down to Sportsman's Warehouse, and I said, hey, I need to get a bear tag. I think it's Unit 61 or something. I can't remember what unit it is, but I need to get a unit for essentially the unit that's Lake City. And he's
Okay.
like, oh, okay. Can you show me your elk tag or your mule deer tag? And I was like, I don't have I don't have an elk tag or a mule deer tag. Those tags are like impossible to get. And he's like, oh, well then you can't have a bear tag. And I was like, wait a second, what are you talking about? I was like, you have no elk and deer tags available for that unit. You have 600 bear tags available for that unit. Why can't I buy a bear tag? And he says, well, you can't buy a bear tag if you don't have an elk or a mule deer tag. And I was like, please explain. This is communism. This sounds exactly like what I went through in Romania when I lived in Romania. Please tell me what's going on. He goes, well, they don't want you to buy a bear tag and then go into the unit and kill an elk or a deer. And I was like, so you are assuming that I am a criminal. You are treating me as a criminal. I have essentially been prosecuted and adjudicated as a criminal um, because there are other criminals in the world. And he was like,
Hmm.
yeah, basically, that's basically what's going on. So then I went down to Fish and Game and I was like, look, you have a surplus bear population in this unit by like hundreds. And he says, oh, yeah, it's terrible. I was like, but I can't go shoot a bear because I didn't draw a elk or a deer tag. They're like, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, you can't do that. So okay, so if that
Makes sense
wrecks
in
your brain a
Bizarro
little,
world. Yep. Yep.
yeah,
Bizarro world.
that okay. So Bizarro World has now spread.
Right.
Um,
As it does.
Amazon, as it does, Amazon has now decided that because some people use Mylar bags to transport narcotics subversively because you can place them
Oh.
in narcotics in Mylar bags. You can put oxygen absorbers in. You can heat seal them, and then you can run them through a dishwasher, and then a few other steps to make sure that then the drug dogs can't find them. Um,
Hmm.
because some people might use Mylar bags nefariously, we are
Well,
no longer going to
ultimately,
sell.
listen, we as a country are just all going to have to sacrifice in order to curb Hunter Biden's addictions. And we're all going to just have to step up together
There it is.
to help that pedophile asshole stop
It
molesting his dead brother's children. And
yeah,
until we stop putting drugs in Mylar bags to give to Hunter Biden,
yep.
um, those poor children are going to have to continue to get molested. So
There you
it's
go.
all our fault that Hunter Biden molests his brother's children because we want Mylar bags.
It's like, do you remember the Red Green Show?
I do. I mean, he's
Yeah,
Canadian, so
yeah. They would always do the man code. You know, when they would go to the possum lodge. You know, I'm a man.
I don't remember it all.
I am
Can you repeat it?
sorry.
You know it?
I can change if I have
They're
to.
just sorry because they're
That was
Canadians. Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I'm a
that's just the
man.
Canadian code.
That's the
Sort
Canadian
of a
code. Yeah,
man with a bun. I'm a
yeah.
man bun.
Man
I,
bun.
I, I drink maple syrup and I'm
So
sorry. Sorry.
so needless to say, because some people, a tiny fraction of the
You
world,
people. How dare you, you
how
people?
dare you? You've ruined it for all of us.
How
Um,
dare you?
because, but here's the deal, guys. That's just the story. We all know that the prepper community, the readiness community, the people who are trying to store food for
Yep.
long-term survival are
Yep.
utilizing Mylar bags. Uh, that's the real reason. Okay, please understand that they
A
are
year
trying to
ago,
make sure.
when we came to you and said, buy Marlar bags and buckets now,
Yes,
do it
yes.
right now.
And then six
This is
months ago,
one
we
of the
said it
reasons
again.
why.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they are now banning Mylar bags.
Five
This
gallon food safe buckets will be next.
pure madness.
You definitely cannot have any sort of like screw off lids. Anything that
Oh
can
yeah.
be perceived as a tool that is used to
Well,
set
one
aside
time,
and hoard things, you'd
you
better get
know,
it now.
one time someone drowned a puppy in a food grade bucket. So,
The
so
picture on all my
we got to
buckets
make,
said that you're supposed to use babies, not
we got to,
puppies. Because if you kill puppies, that is god awful. But if you kill babies, you're just doing your part. That's
well,
just
that's true.
that's just
According to the
that's
government,
just what it takes to be on a school board. Is that you must be willing to take children and abort their babies without telling parents. Otherwise, can you even serve in this school?
not in Oregon, you can't. Not in
Not in
Washington,
Oregon.
not in
Yeah.
California.
Nope. All those places.
So,
Hey,
needless to say, I am not
drowning
impressed.
puppies in Mylar bags. That's it. What would Keanu say?
So, I can't remember. I off the top of my head, I can't remember what the date that Amazon is cutting them off, but I think it's about a month from now. I
I'm
just
surprised
ordered
they gave
another
that much
couple
notice.
hundred. Amy was like, "Don't we
Yeah.
have a few hundred of these?
Yeah,
Somewhere." I'm like, "Yeah, somewhere packed in the Connex container. There's
that's
Mylar
true.
bags."
I don't know
But
where
I don't
mine
know
are
where
either.
they are, and we might as well stock up on them. So we bought.
So explain to me and proxy the rest of the world then the benefit of the Mylar bag over just like the bag that it comes in
Okay.
or just straight into a bucket. Like why Mylar then?
So Mylar is ideal on multiple different levels, okay? Because they are very puncture resistant. If you buy the quality like 7 mil or better
Yep.
Mylar bags, don't waste your money on the cheap one
If you
two
get
mil
anything
Mylar
less, the
bags.
dogs will be able to smell hunter's drugs.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So and you don't want Hunter Biden being able to smell the narcotics that you're hiding. So
well, and heaven forbid if you put like children's baby soap in there,
oh
because
yeah,
out gonna come the big guy,
that's right. The big guy's
the
coming.
hair
He's coming.
sniffer. He's coming.
He'll be wanting to sniff your he'll be wanting to sniff your sack for sure.
But the
But
key is to not allow the oxygen to leak in, right? And so,
right.
especially if you have stuff that's somewhat pokey.
So
So,
somewhat pokey, like wheat
sniffy and
berries
pokey.
are pokey. Yep, like wheat berries
Wheat
are
berries.
pokey. Well, you really shouldn't be long term storing wild rice. It's got too much fat in it, and it will go rancid. But
Whatever.
the
And you use my method.
well, yeah, okay.
But you have to
But
live somewhere real cold.
it also does a spectacular. It is a total lockout of all UV. Okay,
Right.
so if you were to use just regular
White
vacuum seal
buckets,
bags,
vacuum
if
seal
you use
bags.
regular vacuum seal bags,
Yeah.
for a lot of things, regular vacuum seal bags is appropriate and fine. But for long term food storage, it lets in UV light, and it is so thin. If you bump it or sneeze on it, it's gonna rupture that bag, lose its seal,
Release the. Yeah.
yeah. So Mylar is puncture resistant. It is UV blocking. It's oxygen blocking. The other thing too is they've done plenty of experiments about vacuum seal bags. Vacuum seal bags just leak. They do. They are
Well,
way more
especially if you
porous.
are confused and use something called a food saver, which is like not really a vacuum seal.
Yeah.
It's like this faking at being vacuum seal.
Right. So I like to use oxygen absorbers. I like to use about twice as much oxygen
What's it
absorbers. So
say?
I like about 200 cc's worth of oxygen absorbers, and I press out all the oxygen in the bag, close it, zip the Ziploc, and then I heat seal with a pulse sealer. You can use a hair straightener, like ladies, if you got a hair straightener, but it's not always as accurate. Pulse sealer is really good, and they're super cheap. I think you can
If
get a
you
good
have
full
a
sealer
good
for
vacuum
$50.
sealer, like one that has the adjustable range on the heat tape, you could use that. You
Right.
could set it for a lower setting for the Mylar.
Yeah. So actually, it's higher setting for the Mylar.
Is it higher?
Um, yeah, it's higher. You want it to be
So
hotter.
my impulse, mine's like the scissor jaw pulse thing. You got something
Yep.
similar, right? You pull it down, it's
Yep.
got the handle. The second it hits, it goes, and then
Yep.
I have a range on it. But my vacuum sealer doesn't have settings,
Right.
and it
Most
does not
vacuum
handle
sealers do
Mylar as
not.
well.
Yeah, most vacuum sealers do not heat Mylar enough.
My problem with my is my, I don't know what you call it. It's like a guillotine. So you've got like a portable thing, right, that you can run across and take to
No,
the
mine's
location.
mine's a guillotine.
Same. Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of a pain if you put 10 pounds of something in a bucket and you're trying to now seal it, and you need some
Correct.
real counter space. And yeah,
Yep,
I
you
don't
do.
do a lot of Mylar bags because I use the cold. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm really good about, no UV because they're, I don't use white buckets, I use
Ah,
black.
black buckets are great.
So, and then they go in a temperature controlled location,
Yep.
um, that also never sees sun. So, but like you
Yep.
said, and we've noticed, some things will just go rancid, and, after a certain amount of time, and that's the time that you feed it to your children.
That's right. That's exactly
But
right.
I haven't actually had rice go bad yet. I do brown and wild. Probably my oldest stuff that I'm still rotating and using is about 3 years old, so it's probably not quite old enough to be going rancid
Yeah.
yet. Um,
Well, they say that if you're not using a cold method as well,
mhm.
that brown and wild can go rancid in a year. So you got great shelf life out of yours. So you're getting the above average longevity.
Yeah, but we are coming up on it's going to be about 2 years here since we did the COVID freak out. Is this really the end of the world? Right? We all were not sure for about a month. Um, I I had a pretty major stock up at about that time, and I'm not going to be. It's going to take me a while to get through that batch.
I would love you. You
So
know what you need to do is you need to make a video where you taste a bowl of fresh wild rice and a bowl of your stored wild rice and tell me which one tastes better.
okay, it all
That'd be a
tastes good
great
because
video.
I make it in bacon grease. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go then. There you go then.
All right. What else? What else happened in the world this week?
Well,
Hey, what book series are we getting back into?
the child sniffer cannot sniff children anymore. He is COVID positive. They're probably going to kill him off. So
But for
that's
the second time,
is it the
and he has
second time?
cancer.
Yeah, but
That's
he
what I heard.
retracted the
Second
cancer.
time.
He got healed of cancer the next day.
Oh, well, it only happens in Delaware.
Right.
That's what everyone
You
in
know,
Delaware
it
gets
only
cancer.
it only happens if you're a dog faced pony soldier.
Yeah, that's probably it. So, yeah, no, when the first rumblings that he had tested positive came across, I was like, oh, this is it. They're going to kill him off, because a whole lot of us are pretty sure that his party is not going to let him get through the term. Um,
No.
not going to let him see the end. And the reality is something's going to happen to, and I'm not speaking this and whatever. It's just obvious if you know anything about evil people and how they work.
So
That
a
whole group of them,
prediction,
they're
not
all
a
just evil,
prescription.
awful people.
Pre-
Not
Prediction, not
saying
a
that. Yeah,
prescription.
exactly. So Laffy Taffy's not going to last very long. Nobody wants
No.
her to be in charge of anything. She can't even
They'll
handle
get
being in charge of her own schedule.
they'll
Um,
get her to
so
resign.
the
They'll
two
get
of
her to
them, and
resign.
the appointment will be, she has to be in power just long enough to appoint Obama, Michelle
Yep.
Obama, who will then take over and then run.
Yep.
So you watch Michelle Obama put, be put into the presidency
Yep.
right before the election.
Yep. So Kamala will be the first female president. Um,
Yep.
but she will appoint Michelle Obama as her vice
Michelle
president, and
Obama.
she will only be president for a very short period of time.
And the FBI is already training her assassinator. Guaranteed.
Probably so.
I mean, they're
Probably so.
using the same guns. Did you see that picture of the Uvalde shooter's guns, the two AR platforms that he had, and then the liberal left nut mass shooter that got put down in Indiana right away? Um, Same
I
guns,
did not see. Same guns.
same guns, same guns. Not and you show me an AR gun owner. None of us have the same guns.
None
None
of
of us.
us.
We
We
all have
all,
something.
dude.
You make them your own. I mean, they're like the
It is a
friendship bracelets of the gun world. Everybody's
it
got
is
their
a
own little spin to it.
build your own ice cream sundae bar.
It is totally. My Mr. Potato Head looks totally different from your Mrs. Potato Head. And now you only get one potato head because how dare we assume?
That's
Um,
right.
those guns are way too similar. And let's just give a shout out for good old boy who got trained by his grandpa to shoot. Constitutional
Mm.
carry was it 9 days after constitutional carry becomes legal, and he
Yep.
puts 8 out of 10 rounds from 40 yards
40
under
yards
pressure on a moving target.
on a
Oh
moving
my
target.
goodness. I've shot with a
No
lot of
collateral
people,
damage.
and there are not very many people that can pull that off.
Man, I know it.
Certainly,
I was
apparently,
like,
nobody in Uvalde.
right.
You're
Yep.
right. I did
So
watch Kennedy just did a special Kennedy on Drinking Bros podcast. Him and I forget the guy's name, the co-host guy that I don't
Tim
always like a
Kennedy,
lot, but no, yeah, Tim Kennedy but one of the show hosts. Anyway, it doesn't matter if you know, you know. They nailed it down pretty good. Both of them have actually been involved in actual active shooter training. Right there, people who train first responders for active shooting training. They're a member
as
of
have I,
Sheepdog Response as an active duty. You've gone through some of the active duty shooter training, and what's rule number one of an active shooter? I bet you know.
win the fight.
Go shoot the active shooter.
Win the fight.
That's rule
Yep.
number one. You don't wait
Yep.
ever.
Nope.
You wait
Ever.
if it's a hostage, and then you're ready and amassing for the second that it's no longer a hostage situation, and again an active shooter. You never
Yep.
ever wait.
Yep.
And yeah. So
Yep.
anyway, I don't know what they put in the water down there, or what kind of pussies they're breeding in Texas these days. We all know
Turning the
steers,
frogs gay.
queers, and pussies. That's just what comes out of Texas, apparently.
Did you just
In
drop a
Alaska,
Full Metal Jacket reference? Did you just drop a gunny reference?
he got that from every drill sergeant who has ever. I mean, that was not new.
Well,
It's
he
been
was a
around since
drill.
at
He
least the
really was a
60s.
drill sergeant. So he
Oh
really
yeah,
was
no,
a
Lee
drill sergeant.
Ermey's a man.
Lee
Yeah, but
Ermey,
he was a
dude. There's
badass way before you
special
anybody ever saw him in Full Metal Jacket. He was been a badass for a long time.
special place in heaven for Ermey, man.
Good dude.
Yeah.
Hey, Marines
Yeah.
don't go to hell or heaven. They just kind of go into the ground to rest and regroup for a while because God's going to need them again.
Oh, I was just saying. I was wondering the other day if God was saddling Ermey up with one of the horses. Does Ermey get to ride the black horse?
If there is any sort of like pre-op training sessions, he's definitely working.
He's definitely working. He's working for sure. No, I got to tell you the cowardice that we just continue. There's a 77-page report that came out of Uvalde, and we said it last week. I'm going to say it again.
Yeah.
No one is coming. No one is coming. Do not
Nope.
expect anyone
You
to
cannot
come in.
demonize first responders for 2 years. You cannot, for the last 20 years, hire those that can't succeed in that career field to be in charge of the career field, to make political appointments instead of elections,
Yep.
and then have those people completely destroy and gut not just the sheepdogs there, but the entire communities. Because when good people leave those positions, they leave. They don't stick
Yep.
around in town and do something else. They go where they're wanted. And so you
They
wonder
do.
why places like Portland and Chicago and Houston, and I mean, we could just continue to name them, San Francisco, you name it, Anchorage even, they continue to lose their good people because of political appointees. And it's what apparently this is the utopia that, certain people want, and they're
Yep.
getting it now. This is what they want.
Yep.
So let them have it, and we'll congregate elsewhere. And when they completely implode and finish killing each other off, you know, in Chicago, they do what, about 20 a week? Kill each other off 20, 30 a
or
week?
more.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
20
even
or
know. It's
30.
some ridiculous. But, you know, is there really anybody good left there, honestly?
You know, here's the deal. You said it a year ago, and I pushed back against it. And I got to tell you, I think any cop that is still willing to serve in places like Chicago or Portland or LA or San Francisco,
Y- You've
I
put
think that those
something in
people have to
front of
be
your job and your oath.
they you are
It's more
automatically
about the money
suspect
then.
to me. Or as the
Yeah,
kids would say, you are sus.
sus.
I can't handle it. I will no longer push back against it. I think there are a tiny handful that are trying just desperately to get to their retirement. They got 1 or 2 years left, and
But in my
and and
mind,
they're just
that's not justifiable. I walked away
that's
from my
not.
retirement a year and a
No, I
half out from
totally
my retirement for, I mean, I
I get it.
sacrificed a lot for my beliefs.
Yeah, I
Um,
know. I totally
so
agree with you, but I get the temptation, and those guys, I would like at least just I got a little bit more grace for those guys. Okay, but the
Well, I
the
don't have
young
open
the young
condemnation
dudes,
for any of them. It's just that I'm not going to believe your excuses. So be
yeah,
real with yourself. Be real with everybody else. Money's more important than your oath. Money is more
bottom line,
important than your job. You have made sacrifices for your own reasons. Just
yes,
accept that what it is. I want to be able to retire in a year and a half from now, and so I'm going to sacrifice some of my morals and some of my ethics and some measure, and we don't know how
yeah,
much, but some. You're sacrificing some to continue to be in a place where you have to do this and put up blinders, right, to
yeah.
the right thing and the wrong thing, because you're going to somehow just kind of make
Well,
sure you get
what does
yours.
Paul have to say about this? That money
Go
is a
ahead.
trap.
It
Money is a
is.
trap. And okay, so we've said 100 times on this show that Phil and I are both law enforcement chaplains. We bleed blue. We love our law enforcement communities. But I'm just going to say this: law enforcement, they recreate away their pain. They recreate away their pain by going into debt, owning the $40,000 boat, the $60,000 RV, the eighty
I
thousand
think it's the
dollar
two
truck.
ex-wives.
Yeah, there's two ex-wives. The 60,000, $80,000 truck to pull the boat and the RV. And then when someone hangs their paycheck over their head and they are in debt, $500,000,
And
$600,000,
they're
seven
and they're
hundred
wired
thousand
to do the
dollars.
right thing, right? So we're talking about people who are wired to do the right thing. These are not people who will walk away from an
No,
obligation.
they're gonna pay their debt. Something has to
And let's be
compromise.
honest, when you want
Something
to
will
like
break
head to
you.
North Idaho or some conservative place, they only pay $20 an hour and
Yep.
buy your own gear.
15.
Yeah,
15
there you
bucks
go.
an hour right here. You want to be a sheriff's deputy where I am right now?
Oh, and Joe
$15 an
Blow's
hour.
got some like 20-year-old expired plates you can stick in your AR 500 plate carrier.
But don't worry, the state of Missouri guarantees that law enforcement officers must make a minimum of $30,000. So if your law
Hmm.
enforcement agency doesn't pay you enough to make you to $30,000, don't worry. The state of Missouri will compensate you up to $30,000. Dude, listen, there there is not a
That's
badge.
not how you get the good cops, by the way. Just if in case somebody didn't know, that's not how you get the good ones.
That's how you get the badge heavy turds. That's how you get the, well, I'm not getting paid what I'm worth, so I'll take what I want.
And for all of you who have kids in a public school somewhere like that, those aren't the guys that are running in the door when the shooting's happening. That's a
Those
Uvalde
are not.
guys.
Those are the Uvalde. Hey, you know what? Just gonna try. I'm just gonna look it up, see if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this with my bandwidth the way it is here. Um, let's do this. Uvalde
Oh, I
share.
you've probably seen the same stuff that I've seen. They are hiring.
Oh, I guarantee they are.
Oh yeah, they're hiring.
Uvalde sheriff salary. Let's just look and see.
Oh yeah, it should be public. I thought it was a city.
I think it's a city and a
What's the deal?
county. I think it's Uvalde and Uvalde County, isn't it? No?
Hell if I know. I'm not a Texas weirdo.
Holy smokes. The average police or sheriff's patrol sergeant, this is the sergeant salary in
Yeah, so
Uvalde,
not new.
Texas is $77,000
Yeah, I
to
don't.
be a
And so the next
sergeant.
piece of information is what's the cost of living there, and because there are places like
62,000,
um,
sixty-two
I don't
thousand
know,
for a
maybe in
regular road
Mexico
deputy.
where 70,000 is a lot of money. I don't think there's a single place left in this country where 70,000 is a lot of money.
That is not what you pay, guys. That is not what you pay law enforcement if you want quality law enforcement people. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, granted, you can't pay away the turds, but if you
Well,
are
it's not all
if you're
about the money. It's
starting
just that you can demand a high standard and get good people if you're willing to
right.
pay them a living wage that supports the professionals in the industry. Because
Well, when there
like
was a law
anything,
enforcement when there was a law enforcement shortage in Florida, what did Florida do? They said, "Hey, we'll give you a moving bonus of $5,000 just to move here." Like, and then they were going to cover their moving costs as well. So like, and then they were going to
I think
start
in
those guys at
Alaska,
like hundred thousand
our big
dollars.
advertisement is we just say we're not California or Oregon, and that's enough.
You're about to be.
I know we're trying hard, man.
There's a lot more. There's a lot more Oregonians and Californians moving to Alaska than they are to Missouri.
Oh my goodness, I have two new neighbors where I live, and they are both people that have recently fled the Seattle area.
Are they
And
leftists?
they're not lefty turds. They're young professional couples. They're kind of I wouldn't say they're millennials. I don't know what's that. What's the generation after us that's before millennials? I don't know.
Gen
Um,
X. We're Gen X, aren't we?
yeah, we're Gen X. What was after that? Hell if I know.
Millennials.
Anyway, so that group, they're in their early 30s, right? They've done
Yeah.
school. Both of them have professional degrees, um, and are coming up here to do jobs that no one here is qualified to do, because anybody who we don't actually educate the things that we need in Alaska. We chase all of our good children out of Alaska to go get educated somewhere else, and then they never want to come back. Um, so then we bring other people here to fill those roles that we need. So something that requires a professional license, and professional licenses are doctors, engineers, real estate appraisers. What else? Anything that requires you to get a license from the state or the feds to do it. Commercial pilots, and I'd love to say aircraft maintenance because it does require a professional license, but we've been recently classified as non-skilled labor. You want to know why your airline's costing what it is and why the whole world's freaking out because they can't get anyone to fix the airplanes? Is because the Department of whatever labor reclassified aircraft mechanics as non-skilled labor, and the wages went down. So everybody said, "Hey, screw off later." Um, that's gonna bite.
That's right.
So anyway, off on a tangent because that's what we do in the show. It's the prep tangent show. Um,
Prep tangents.
we chase all the rabbit holes here, so you don't have to.
There you go.
I don't remember what I was talking about at all.
So let's talk a little bit about my preps this week.
Hold on, pulling shotguns over here.
I'm very
All right,
excited. Let's talk about my prep this week. My preps this week.
all right. Let's see your preps.
So the pig pen is done. Pigs are coming tomorrow. The
Okay.
brooder is done. Quit showing off your Benelli. You just want to just pet it like Dr. Evil and his cat. But anyway, the chicken brooder is done. I have most of what I need for the laying birds tractor.
Yeah.
And I've got about 20 laying birds that have been brooding, and they're getting ready to graduate out of the small coop into the big laying coop. And they've been I think they started brooding in May, I believe. So May, June, July. Yeah, so they're about 3 months old. So we'll start seeing eggs out of them in three or 3 or 4 months. And so we got most of what we need to build their brooder. I still have to go shopping and pick up the stuff for the meat birds chicken tractor.
What are
But
you
we
feeding those
are
guys?
well, right now we're just feeding them commercial feed.
Okay.
We're doing a grower starter, non-medicated. I don't do the medicated stuff. Grower starter, and then we'll shift over to sprouts as soon as we get the
Have
sprouting operation up running.
you watch Sam the Cooking Guy, right?
Oh, I love Sam the cooking guy.
Yeah. Love Sam. I mean, he's a Canadian. He's from Canuckistan and he lives in San Diego. So he's got a lot against him. But um, I
But the man
like
knows
his
how to make
channel.
food.
Yeah. I appreciate him for that. I don't have to like him because he's Canadian. But with that
Right.
said, with the disclaimers in place, he is today he released a video working on Wagyu beef fillet, right? And they did like a
Ooh.
30-day dry age on it. But
Okay.
it's not just normal Wagyu. It's some sort of Japanese drunken Wagyu. So have you heard of this?
Yes,
Where
where they
you
don't give them water, they only
feed,
get beer.
they only get alcohol their entire life. What if you did that to chicken? I'm just throwing it out there. Fermented sprout.
Well, okay. So it's interesting that you say that. So as soon as the chicks are big enough,
Mhm.
we take their grain and we soak it for 3 days in a black
That's
bucket
like a
that gets
ferment.
hot in the sun, and that
Yeah,
ferments in 3 days. So they get fermented liquefied grain as
right.
their primary protein source. I believe our chickens taste better
But
than
if
everybody
you
else's
were to
chickens.
mix some porter in there, or like, so would you get like an Irish chicken, or um, if you were to do some sort of Americanized rice beer, would you get more
Ooh,
like a lager chicken?
yeah.
I mean, this is an experiment that requires answers.
Okay, so interesting that you say that. You know that pigs, bears, and people
Yeah,
are the three species on this planet that their meat takes on the flavor of what they're eating. See,
and
I
I've skinned
actually
all
would.
three. So
Okay, all right. Anyway, we're gonna move past that. But no, so like bears are a great example. If you shoot a spring bear in Alaska, it's gonna taste a whole lot better than a fall bear in Alaska because the fall bear's been chewing on
it tastes
rotten
like what
fish
they eat.
carcasses.
That's it. Yep.
It tastes like what they eat. Now down in Southern Oregon, you would never eat a spring bear. You would eat a fall bear because they've been eeting berries. They're
Yeah.
they're they're fat and sassy on huckleberries and blueberries and pine nuts and stuff, right?
Well, up in here
But
we have fall bears that eat tourists, and so as long as they're eating, yeah, it kind of depends on the tourists. Like s- different tourists taste different,
right,
um, and way too many of our tourists that come here from Oregon, Washington, they all come up here and they go fishing and they taste like fish and communism. But if you catch those Asian tourists in the winter, right? Because there's no sushi here in the winter, and they're all eating our Alaska berries and chocolate up at Chena Hot Springs. Those are the bears.
there you go.
Hey, I'm just trying to help, give good info for people so they can prep,
I'm just I'm just saying that what if I started doing like the cheapest homebrew that I
right?
could get? Like the cheapest, just dirt, whatever like Northern Brewer has kits on clearance available.
Yeah.
And I didn't even make those beers to drink. I just gave them all to the pickings, the pigs and the chickens.
Well, I used to give my fermented, my grains, my spent grains.
Yeah.
I used to give those to my buddy who raised pigs. Um, I don't think that you can't necessarily not drink the beer, make the beer. What if you just give them spent grains?
Well, I can't really drink beer, so I drink like a half a beer a month, maybe.
So
I'm,
what you're telling me is you're able to prep beer quite well.
I'm well. I mean, I have all the equipment to prep beer. Yeah.
and you're not eating your stash, so it's going to get up to be a good. It tastes better the longer you have it.
I will say this. I cracked open a bottle of beer that Eric and Jamie and I made of our one of our
Yeah.
very first batches the other day. And dude, my Amy was like, "This is gonna taste horrible. This is gonna be the worst."
Not
No, it was
unless it
like
was in the sun.
I think it was a coffee porter, and it was kept in the back of a
Oh,
cabinet the whole time,
yeah.
and it
Those only get better.
was it was superb,
Yeah.
superb, so
Yeah.
good.
I've never been able to keep any longer than like 6 or 9 months, and that's only
I'd
if I'm
have to
brewing
hide it.
constantly.
I
Yeah.
had to hide it. I had a
Well,
little.
you just have
I
to
put it in my
keep
closet.
yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a good point. I need to get caught up on brewing stuff because I've never really been super into the all grain. I don't save my yeasts, right? So, I'm a pretty consumable brewer,
Me too.
and I buy new stuff pretty much every batch.
I
I
think
need to
my next
develop a
endeavor is going to
sustainable.
be distilling. I think my next endeavor is going to be
Well,
distilling.
I know that's the way to go, but I would not distill for things that I would drink. I just don't enjoy anything hard at all. Um, I can
Oh,
appreciate
I'm not
what
distilling
goes
for.
into it,
I'm
but
not
on the
distilling for
safety
me.
aspect of just yeah, making tinctures and poultices and
I want to be able to run my
drunk
generator on ethanol.
drunken chickens and making a mash that makes the chickens taste good.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. My
Well,
dad
you
keeps
live
telling
in
me. My dad keeps telling me. We're eating almost every meal together now. Like or every dinner together. My dad keeps telling me that he doesn't like chicken. He doesn't eat chicken. He doesn't like chicken. He doesn't eat chicken. I'm like, you just wait. You just
yeah.
wait till you taste these grass-fed, bugs not drugs chickens. Because guess
Yeah.
what? You don't have to pump a bunch of antibiotics into your chickens if they're not crapping on each other's heads living in the same 2 feet. And I don't say that because I'm some weird PETA anti cruelty to chickens. Chickens mean nothing. They aren't sentient beings. Like they don't know whether they're getting their heads crapped on or not. But the
No, but
veterinarians
people
know.
all animals that live dirty smell and taste dirty. I mean, if you've ever
Agreed.
smelled people that are blown up, there people that come from dirty, poor, nasty countries. If you ever smelled like an Afghani or a Pakistani who's blown up, it's really,
San
really gross.
Franciscan.
But if you smell someone who's a little more clean living, like I don't know, probably not hippies, but like if you've ever smelled it's just not as bad. So
It's not.
it's got to be a similar concept.
It's a very similar concept. So I think anyway. All that being said, you got to brew to be able to distill.
You do.
So
You don't have to
so
brew
so
good,
I
but yeah,
yeah, no. You don't have to brew good. You're talking about a 7 day
their mashes.
fermentation.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
still one of
I
my
think a
favorite book
distiller is a good
series
way to go.
is one of my favorite books. Still one of my favorite book series is that one that Boyd Craven wrote where it talked where that there was that moonshiner kid through the whole series that was a prepper.
That was a good one.
That was a
That
good one.
that was a Mr. Craven did an excellent job on that series. That was good. We
He
didn't
did.
do that one on the show, did we?
No, we didn't. We talked about it,
No,
but
we
we
were
didn't.
talking
We
about
need to
that. We
get
got to
back.
get
We
back
need to get back
to
to a
at
book
least
story.
we do at least once a week or the first part of the show or something.
Yep,
It's time to jump back into a series. So
it is.
when we get back with y'all next week for the show,
We'll pick
um,
a series and get going by then.
we'll outline the fall.
A short series. We're gonna do like 3 book series, not these big 8, 9 book series like the last one. Don't get me wrong. I liked that series a lot. It was a great series.
A lot,
I
a
gotta
lot.
tell you, I would highly recommend the Goodwin series that I'm reading right now.
Okay, that's a pretty good one.
Uh,
I just jumped into a new one. Let's see here, and of course, we just mentioned one by our favorite Mr. Boyd Craven.
yeah,
Um, let's see. Acres has a good series. Should hit the fan series. Fight Like a Man, book one. I'm in that one.
okay.
That's a contender. Um, I have a internet friend who just told me today, right as we were coming. In fact, I was reading the emails. We were coming on the show. He's sending me his first book from a series that he's written. So
Ooh,
I'll jump into that, and I think it's going to start hitting Amazon for release in the next couple of weeks. So it sounds like
audiobook.
I'm going to have it. I don't think it's audio yet.
Okay.
I have not had a chance to ask him about the audio.
Okay.
But we do know some people who know some people and could maybe make some connections happen to help him get an audiobook. Sounds like he's let's see, I'm just reading here. Air Force veteran, law enforcement veteran. Um, I'm gonna be careful how much I say. I don't have permission yet, but I believe he did some things in the air with guns after his first law enforcement career. So he's done 3 distinctly different law enforcement careers, and now he's writing a post-apoc book. So
Nice.
I'm looking forward to reading that, and with his
I want
permission,
to read
perhaps
a.
we'll float it.
I want to read an APOC. I want to read an APOC book, and I have all the recording equipment. I'm just saying. I'm throwing it out there.
Hey, that's an idea. Could offer it.
I'll do it. I'll do it for post credit. I'll do it for.
Well, you just got
I'll
to get
do
your
it
name out there
for.
the first time.
No. Yeah, exactly. I'll do it. I'll do it for a royalty on each copy rather than a cash up front. Hey. Speaking
I
of
think
Air
that's the
Force
way to
stuff
go.
and speaking of
Yeah.
stuff,
What?
speaking of stuff, Air
The
Force
floating
stuff
hand.
and shooting guns in the air.
Guns
Just
in
so
the
you
air.
know, I did volunteer you. A friend of mine's son really wants to be a
Uh-oh.
crew chief in the Air Force, and I said I've got a friend who would love to talk to your
Broken?
son.
Does he know what that means?
He
I
does
think people
not.
just say
No,
that because it sounds really cool on paper. Um,
crew chief.
no, that's true. I'm not gonna lie; it is pretty damn cool. And we're pretty badass people, but some screws get unscrewed that don't always screw back in the right places afterwards.
No.
All
What?
right, yeah.
And I've
All right.
skinned
Well, and
all
he's
three, quote
under
unquote.
18 or over. Like, how much filter do I have to have when I talk to this child,
He is
or do we
about to
need to not
turn
filter so he doesn't
15.
do it?
He's about to
Okay,
turn
that's a lot of
15.
filter. That's a lot of filter. All right.
A lot of filters. So just know that I told him that you would. I told him that you would talk to him.
Put in the
Uh,
put in the comments how much filter I should have. No.
I'm gonna go level 8.5 filter.
I go to at least 12, so there's definitely an
There you go.
11.
So anyway, man, I'm feeling really good about where we at as far as homestead stuff. I'm still very
Good.
intimidated about house build and things like that. But I mean, I'm feeling pretty ready for the next year's worth of meat. We're not getting into any breeding stock this year except for rabbits. And I
Right.
think we're gonna hold off until the heat of the summer is over to get rabbits established. And
You brought your
so
breeding pair?
no, we gave the breeding pair to some friends, and so that was really cool. They had a little boy that really wanted to start raising rabbits for meat, and so we were really excited to give it to them. And they were dear friends that served us mightily. So it
Good.
felt really great to be able to give them the gift of our rabbit breeding setup. But no, I think that where we are right now is I'm feeling really good. We're gonna have well more than a year's worth of meat in the freezer for our whole family. Um, and that's going to be pretty awesome. My sister's garden is blowing up. I'm going to shoot some video, do a walk through the garden with her. I think she's got 40 tomato plants they're just about to explode. They're just loaded down with tomatoes. None of them have turned red yet, but they're getting ready to pop off. She's got spaghetti squash, butternut squash, the zucchini and the summer squash are just like blowing up. So we're going to be doing a lot of canning, some videos on canning in the next in the weeks to come. So for those of our patrons, since we haven't been doing bunkers and stuff like that, I have the chicken brooder video is almost done. The pig pen video is almost done. And then a general homestead kind of walk around is almost done. And you guys will get those videos a day before I put them out on my YouTube channel, Free State Homestead. So patrons, get ready. There's going to be some special content coming your way. Really, really,
Yep.
really appreciate all of you guys. Thanks for continuing to believe in us, even though we have been in full bug out mode the last few weeks.
Yeah, a lot of changes. Uh, I you alluded at the beginning of the show. I did put up about a year's worth of meat this week, as well.
You did. You
Um,
did.
and talked about the
I saw that.
sprouts, and I've got a couple years worth of greens that I can make every week. So we've got that, and then our beans and rice have been there for a long time. We threw out a post very quickly. Was it yesterday or the day before? We kind of you and I caught wind, got the alert about a big dip in silver. I hope somebody got in on that. I did manage to get in on that myself. I bought two of the quantities. So
Good for you. My
um,
mom tried to
I
jump
think,
in, and she's like, "They're sold out."
yeah,
It
I
was
think
like
it
it
was
was a
going pretty
flash sale.
quick. When you had said it to me, I had already put it in my cart, and I decided I better go ahead and check it out. So I did it 2-3 minutes later. And yeah, so those things are time sensitive. Whenever precious metals go on a sale where the seller is liquidating down, you've got to move quickly because there are so many people that are sitting with
That was
cash
a
ready to
20
wire that
ounce.
money.
That was 20 ounces for like 455, right? That was a spectacular. There was $2 off the
Well,
premium.
the deal was it was $2 off the already discounted premium. So the premium was $2. Um,
$2.95, I
hold
think.
on, for the whole roll
Yeah.
for 20 ounces, not
Oh.
per coin.
Oh, I thought it was per coin.
And it was already discounted. So it was a significant savings. Um, I think it ended up coming out to about $19 an ounce,
Man,
is
that's
how I ended
great.
up
I mean,
by wiring them cash.
it means I'm taking a bath on all the silver that I've bought in the last year. But the bottom line of it is I didn't buy that silver to try to amass wealth. I bought it as a hedge against inflation.
I'm not
And
intending
this
to
is
flip it. Yeah, I'm not going to
no,
try to like sell it back for a gain.
this is a sit on it for Tiatwaki. This is sit on it for SHTF.
Pretty soon there's going to
And
come a day where you can't purchase these things with your credit cards or your government funds that they are allowing you to have. And so the only way to get them is going to be through trades.
the green toilet
But
paper.
I was I was having a meeting, I think it was yesterday, with a local contact here who is in close association with two of the places where you can buy precious metals where I live. Both of those entities are not selling silver
That's right.
because they cannot sell it right now
Not taking a loss.
for a profit in any way. Yeah, so they're just not going to sell it.
Yeah. What about has the gold market's dipped too, right?
Yeah, and the last I saw, we could look it up, but it doesn't matter. It was 1700 something, low
Yeah.
17s yesterday. So,
Okay.
um, historically, it's not a bad spot. It has been lower, but of course, with inflation, and you can sit there and run all the charts and do the graphs. It's still at a pretty good buy point. Is the point? Robert or Bob Kiyosara, who's the rich dad poor dad guy, um, he's he's kind of gone pretty public in the last week. In fact, he did a show with Ben Shapiro last weekend, and he's pushing
Oh, did he?
hard for, yeah, he's pushing hard for everybody to start realigning their positions and things. And he had a lot of very intelligent things to say. He always does. He's a very intelligent person, despite what he says about himself. He's actually quite highly
Yeah.
educated. He's an academy
He's
grad,
very
um,
self-deprecating.
naval officer. Um, well, he was a Marine, but they don't always like to admit that they were in the Navy. Um,
Men's department.
so many jokes. I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked 'cause there's just so many jokes there. It's hard to keep my head straight through that one. Um, I'll just give a moment of silence. You should say all the ones you can think of in your head. No,
I don't do the jokes.
it's all right. What do you?
Gold finished today $12.60 up 1737.60. Silver was 23 cents down at 18.84. I'm pretty sure you and I both bought at like 24 $25 an ounce back around
I've been in
Thanksgiving.
anywhere from about about where we are now, a little bit higher, about 19, all the way up to 27, I think is my high.
Yeah,
So,
27's my high too.
but that's fine. I mean, I don't know where my cost basis is because I don't care.
I don't
They're
care either.
not, I'm not going to be flipping them. And by the time I sell them, they're going to be worth a lot more than $27 a piece. I'll be using them in exchange for roughly $50 to $100 amounts.
Yeah,
Would be my amount.
absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
you know,
I got to tell
it'll
you,
be,
just as
roughly a week's worth of food.
I'm running out of natural light, and because I'm not in a studio,
I don't
I
think it's
need
that bad,
to.
actually. That worked quite well.
It did. It worked out. I thought it worked out really well.
Yeah.
I did. Walmart is right there,
Okay.
and I walked the aisles of Walmart right before I got on the show. A lot of bare spaces, a lot of empty slots. Um, Please, 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 if you're listening to the sound of our voices, go buy food. Don't worry about silver. Don't worry about gold. The precious metal you need to worry about right now is rice
The
and
fillings of your
beans,
teeth. No.
the fillings of your teeth. Do not let your family go hungry in the days to come. If
Right.
you're hearing my voice, go buy long-term storage food, and you
Don't be
better get on
forced
Amazon right now
to
and get
sell your
Mylar bags.
children in order to get food. And if you're forced to send your children to listen and participate in re-education, that is selling your children.
Is selling
You're
your
selling
children. And
your
bottom
children.
line, you got to pay attention to this, you guys. You got to pay attention to this. Do not be the people that have to go line up at a FEMA camp. Do not be the people that has to get on a bus and go to a processing center to get your 2 MREs for the day.
Let's
You
talk
need to be
cash.
able, yeah, you need to be
Yeah.
able to
No,
go
same
hunker
lines. This is the
down.
same prep. That's right. This is
Yeah,
the same prep though. Signs on bank doors. I've
yeah,
seen it lately. I'm hearing
I've
about
seen
it.
it.
It's not necessarily because they're out of money. It's
Right.
because they can't get anybody to show up to work and
Sometimes
they're
it's
closing
because
the
their
bank.
systems are down because they're dealing with cyber attacks.
So many hackers still.
I'll tell you the other thing that was just mind blowing, and I forgot to bring this up last week. Truck
What?
stop after truck stop after truck stop across the country from Oregon to Missouri. I bet you 80% of the truck stops had no death at the pumps. Sorry, we're out of death. Sorry, we're
You
out
know
of death.
why?
You could,
You know
yes,
why? No. No, it's even more simple than that. And punch your neighborhood Democrat in the face for this. The
Gotta get a
the
huge
no
ball.
well, whatever. Um you can't buy fertilizer right now, right?
No,
DEF is fertilizer. It's
death is
all over
fertilizer.
YouTube. People are taking their DEF that's supposed to be for their trucks and spraying their lawns with it. And farmers have
Yeah,
been buying it and spraying their crops because they cannot get fertilizer and they're not getting the cuttings that they need out of their wheat to even support their own herds. And that's why, we
yeah,
all know that everybody's selling off their beef herds or going all the way down to their seed stock herds because they can't get the wheat because the wheat the hay and the grasses, your alfalfa hays cost a fortune because of the price of fuel, right? It's just all this trickle down, and at every single turn comes a bad decision that was made by a Democrat that was
yep,
purposeful to get you into an electric car.
yep,
Do what you got to do. Be friends with your local farmers. Grow your own food.
yep. Have a rabbit
Get
so
to
you
be,
don't need
these
fertilizer.
guys that have their seed stock, they're still turning them over. They're still selling, but they're selling like one or two to their friends. So you better make friends with a farmer or a rancher or somebody, or get you some rabbits and start doing that. Whatever you got to do, or you know, go take advantage of this Walmart thing. Go follow the Walmart loopholes like I do.
Yep,
And
yep.
here's the key. I'm going to save it. We're going to do a real quick bunker, right? Are you going to be able to do that? I'm going to
No,
give the secret in the bunker.
I can't
There
do
is,
bunker.
I'll see if I can pull it off. There is a
Okay.
secret to shopping online with Walmart. And it's like a Simpolicon loophole in real
Oh,
life.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
and I pulled it off so good this week.
Dude, only real fans of this show have made it this far into the broadcast. You might as well just tell them.
You got to pay to play.
Got to pay to play. All right, you guys. Well, Phil's gonna
Ask
try to
grass
get
or
into the
cash.
bunker for you.
We'll do it.
Phil's gonna try to get into the bunker for you this week. I cannot. I'm running out of light, and I am running out of bandwidth. I'm doing this on a hotspot, you guys. So listen, I love you. I hope you're paying attention to this. Hope you're going to buy food, buy ammo, buy what you need to defend your food and your ammo. Get your water stuff in order. Be able to do the things that you need to do to keep living. I love
Get you
you.
to your
That
neighborhood gun store.
there you
Go
go.
visit the Bullet Farm Manufacturing, the Blazing Mall in Soldotna.
Ooh,
Um, get in
not a
there
sponsor.
quick. He's selling out quick, sort of, almost part
Yeah.
way.
And listen, you guys, I normally say this at church, but I don't have a church to say it. I just want to tell you that I love you. But
All
that
right,
love pales in comparison to how much Jesus loves you. Rest in that love this week. Now go get prepped.
too late.